Hi guys, my name is Michael. Welcome back. So I want to share a couple of things with you guys. As you know, the last couple of days has been really, hectic, if I can put it that way, in the stock market. There was a lot of commotion, caused by the Japan and the yen carry trade, I think last week. But it just feels like everything is back to normal now. The VIX is down. So everything, it looks like business as usual. But, like every other thing, we always try to, in this channel, what we try to do is to get behind the scenes so that we can understand what is going on. We are not just here to, look at what is happening. We want to know what is going on. And one of the people you want to study when you want to know what is going on in the stock market is Warren Buffett, right? As you know, Warren Buffett is like an investment icon. And anytime Warren Buffett makes a move, he makes a move, the investment community stands still. Everyone wants to understand why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Because he's such a successful investor, right? So every time he makes a move, you want to study that move. You want to try to get behind the scenes to understand why he's making that move. And last 2 weeks, Warren Buffett made a couple of moves that got people thinking and cracking their head. Why is he doing this? Why is he selling and everything? And I want to just share with you my own opinion of what I think is going on with Warren Buffett at the moment. So if you take a look at this article here from from Fortune, it was talking about the surgical move that Warren Buffett made a couple of weeks ago. He sold 50% of their Apple stake just before the Japanese the issue from Japan started happening, and everybody as usual gave him his flowers. They were like, okay, yeah, Warren is he's a very surgical investor. He can see this thing coming. He has been through a lot of market cycles, so he knows when something is about to go down. Basically, when you stay long, when you're this old in investing, right? There are some things you just know by intuition. You can tell when things are about to, go out of control, right? So a lot of people were hailing him. If you look at the article, they were talking about the fact that you can see here in the past 2 quarters, the Oracle of Omaha's Berkshire Hathaway has sold roughly 510 million shares of Apple. So he has been selling it little by little, but over the last 2 quarters, he has sold over 510 million, and that's a huge deal. That's a big deal. I'm going to show you why it's a big deal. And here is another part that is important. I said it is important to note that Apple remains Berkshire's biggest equity holding, making up 41% of the conglomerate's portfolio. So what they're saying is that even though they've sold a number of shares, Apple is still their highest holding, which is still good, right? If you take a look at this other part, it says that downshift raised Berkshire's cash holding from the previous record of 189 billion at close of Q1 to 278 billion. So what he's saying is that the sale of those shares, of those Apple shares, right? All Berkshire did with that money is to add it to their cash pile, right? It's not like they sold Apple to buy something else. It's not like they sold the Apple shares to invest in something else. No, they sold the shares and just kept the money sitting down there. And that is one thing that Warren Buffett doesn't like. He doesn't like money just sitting down there. He always talks about the fact that they need to have a certain amount of money because of their insurance business, right? But he doesn't necessarily like money just sitting down there. That's why he sold his position in gold, right? Because he said gold doesn't do anything. It just sits there. There's no utility. That's why he sold his position in gold. So he likes to put his money to work. So if you see somebody like that who likes to put their money to work, taking their money out of working and coming to keep them in one place, then you need to start thinking, what is going on with this guy and what is he thinking? So if you take a look at this other article, one of the things that people are not talking about is that a lot of people are just talking about the fact that they sold Apple, and that is because, obviously Apple is a tech stock, so it got more attention. But it's not just Apple. It's not just Apple that Warren has been selling. Also, they've been selling their holdings in Bank of America, right? They've been paring those positions down, and you can see in this article it said Warren Buffett's Berkshire sells 3.8 billion worth of Bank of America in 12-day selling spree. So these are things that they are doing behind the scenes. While everyone is just focused on the Apple selling, they are also selling Bank of America, right? And it says here, Warren Buffett is not done selling Bank of America. Berkshire Hathaway shared a total of 19.2 million Bank of America shares on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday for almost $779 million at an average selling price of $40 per share, blah, blah, blah. And you can see that he's paring down his holdings. And this is very unlike him, except, if it's a good company, right? If everything is going well, he will usually not sell. He will usually not cut his stake. He will usually just stay in that position, rack up the dividends and all those things there. So when you see him selling like this, it means that there's something on the horizon, and we'll talk about that. Another thing I want you to understand is that a lot of people might see that, Warren Buffett is selling and they say, okay, he wants to take profit, right? What is an investment if you don't take profit? So they might look at it like, okay, the average price of his Apple share was like $34, and right now Apple is at 200 and something dollars. He just wants to take his profit. Also, he bought the Bank of American shares very cheap. There is profit there for him to take off the table, right? And some people might feel like he just wants to take his profit. That's why he's selling those shares, just to, take some profit off the table. But one thing you need to understand when it comes to selling of shares is that whenever you sell your shares and there is a profit on it, you are also liable for tax, right? And we know that a lot of people do not like to pay tax. A lot of people would rather not sell their shares than sell the shares and pay tax. And you can see here, it says here, Berkshire Hathaway could pay $15 billion in taxes on Apple sale. So those stocks that they sold in Apple, right? If you look at the total amount, and they were doing like an estimate of the total amount, and if you see it here, it said during the second quarter, Berkshire Hathaway realized $59.6 billion of taxable gains on equity investment, and that gain likely was almost entirely due to the sale of Apple stocks, right? So if you think about it, that sale, that 510 million Apple shares that they sold, right? They realized a lot of money, and there was a lot of profit in that, right? So the moment you sell your stock, right? The moment you sell your stock and you have this gain, this profit, then you are also liable for taxes, right? You're also liable for taxes. And if you see it here, right, based on those shares that they sold in Apple, it means that Berkshire Hathaway could be liable for $15 billion in taxes. Do you get? So what you need to be asking yourself is that, why did Berkshire Hathaway sell those shares only to come and pay $15 billion in taxes? If they had left those shares in Apple, there would be no tax liability, right? So they sold those shares, and now they have to pay a bill of close to $15 billion. Now, if you look at that thing logically, it means that whatever it is that made them sell those shares is worth it. The $15 billion in taxes is actually worth it in their own opinion. Do you get? Because usually what you will see is that most people will not sell their shares like that just to come and pay taxes. A lot of people will avoid paying taxes if they can legally, right? So no one is going to go sell their shares and then take that money, that profit, and then, except it's an emergency. And that's not the case for Warren Buffett. So whatever it is that made him sell those shares in Apple and in Bank of America only to come and pay this huge tax bill, he feels that it is worth it. He feels that it is worth it. And that is what a lot of people are trying to come to terms with. So in my own opinion, when I see all these moves that Warren Buffett is making, what I think, he's preparing for is a fire sale. And if you look at his past history, right, Warren Buffett always likes to be prepared for when things go bad, because that is when you can take advantage of opportunities that present themselves. And if you take a look at how they became the number one shareholder for Bank of America, you will see that it was also in a crisis. In 2008, when they had the financial issue, right, that was when he was investing. And you see the mindset of an investor, right? When there was an issue, that is when he was investing. That is when he was buying up things. So in 2008, when the banking crisis was in full force, right? Buffett famously bought $5 billion worth of Bank of America's preferred stock. And he got this for almost, it was cheap. It was dead cheap, because obviously the banks were looking for bailout. And that $5 billion that he injected into the bank was part of the reasons why the bank was able to pass through that storm, was able to survive that storm, rather. So understand the mind of an investor, that these guys come out when there's crisis. So what we are seeing Warren Buffett do, building all that cash pile, having all those cash on the side, is that in his mind, he's thinking that something is going to affect the stock market soon, and he wants to be ready on the side to take advantage of the opportunity when it presents themselves. And we also, as investors who are just upcoming, this is how we should also be thinking. We should be getting ready for issues in the stock market, so that when those issues come and they present when those opportunities are present to us, which these are issues, opportunities disguised as issues, right? When they present themselves to us, we can take advantage of them, because you're going to see things for ridiculous prices, but it is only the people who understand what they are doing. Think about it, right? Think about the mindset of Warren Buffett. In the midst of a banking crisis in 2008, he injected $5 billion into a bank. You need to understand what you're doing, because where other people are running helter-skelter, if you understand what you're doing, you're going to be doubling down. You're going to be doubling down. That is why sometimes you need to know ahead of time what you want to do before the crisis comes. So that is what he was doing in 2008. That's how he got the position in Bank of America. He bought $5 billion worth of preferred stocks in the height of the banking crisis of 2008. So we don't know what crisis is going to hit next. We don't know what is going to happen. Is it going to be an energy crisis? Is it going to be electricity? Is it going to be a financial crisis? Whatever it is, right, you need to understand exactly what is going on. Because if you do, then you will be able to take advantage of the situation. So can you imagine if there was a financial crisis or a banking crisis, everyone is trying to get their money out of a bank, and then that is when you, like Warren Buffett, are saying, like, this is the time for you to invest. This is how we need to think if we want to be successful at investing. You have to be a contrarian, right? You don't go with the crowd. You have to see things differently. You have to understand what is going on. And these are the things that I'm trying to bring to your attention. Do you understand? These are the things I'm trying to bring to your attention, that we need to be ready, because there's going to be an issue in the stock market at some point. And when that time comes, right, people who have good understanding of what is going on will be able to take advantage of the situation. Remember, we're in a season of wealth transfer. If you go through all the financial dailies, they're talking about it. Wealth is being transferred. They're saying, wealth is about to be transferred from the baby boomers to the millennials, from the Gen X to the... So wealth is on the move. It's on the move. And that transfer, right, from baby boomer to millennial, there's going to be issues between. So you have to be there to capitalize. Anything of value is most vulnerable when it's on the move. So when wealth is on the move in this form of transfer, right, if you understand what you're doing, if you understand what is going on, you can position yourself in such a way that you can be a benefactor of that transfer, if I can put it that way. And that's what I'm trying to bring to your attention, that the stock market is a wealth transfer tool as well. And we have to be positioned in the right companies to take advantage of the opportunities that will present themselves in the future. Just like Warren Buffett took advantage of that opportunity during the banking crisis. Tomorrow, it could be an energy crisis. Which opportunity will you take advantage of? If we had an energy crisis today, which company would you buy? Would it be Chevron? Would it be ExxonMobil? Will it be Shell? Will it be BP? You need to know all these things. If we had a financial crisis tomorrow, where would you put the money? What would you buy? What would you take advantage of? These are the things that we need to know. That's what I'm trying to do on this channel, to get us to think, deeply, and to go deeper to understand what is going on. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like videos like this, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.